All right, guys, so here it is, Saturday. The election is still actually going on. They're still counting votes, but the media has proclaimed or projected the winner to be Joe Biden and Harris. That has been very hard for me to come to terms with, very hard to grasp, and I found myself being just angry, sad. I'm going to say sad out there. I'm not too manly to admit. And helpless. I think many of us feel helpless, especially with the way that election was handled. We get it. COVID is a real thing. We're not even going to get into COVID right now. You could go on for hours talking about my feelings about COVID and the preparation to this election in conjunction with COVID, and how we got to the mail-in ballots, how we got to the extended timeline on when ballots can be in, and eventually how we got Joe Biden as our future president of the United States. So I don't think I'm alone in this. Like many Trump fans, our Trump supporters, patriots, even some people that aren't Trump fans, libertarians, just believe in the Constitution, due process, the proper way to do things. We just couldn't believe what we were seeing election night and then on. If you watch election night, things were moving very normal. You know, mail-in ballots were getting counted first, and some states, everything was moving normal. And then we had Florida. And now Florida was a very crucial swing state because it was one of the first major swing states to actually close its polls. Sure, you had New York close their polls early, and a couple other East Coast states did as well, but Florida was that indicator of how this election was going to go. And very early on in the night, it was quite obvious that Trump was going to win Florida. In fact, the news and the media was very reluctant to call Florida. They should have called it almost a couple hours earlier because it was such a landslide. And that's when things change. We all went to bed, most of us feeling pretty good. The system's going to work. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to wake up in the morning and Trump will be our president for another 4 years. We wake up in the morning, we get slapped in the face, and we look at all these red states, or I should say blue states, that were just red. And all of a sudden, it's like, what the hell happened? Well, we don't know. There's a lot of stories out there, a lot of conflicting stories. A lot, and I mean a ton of claims to fraud, that this was an illegal election. Guys, you've been hearing about it all week. I'm not going to bore you. Well, actually, it's not boring at all, but I'm not going to repeat some of the stories that we have heard. But I am going to touch base on one that I found very intriguing. It's about the watermarks on the ballots. Watermarks on the ballots. Interesting. So, essentially, the Department of Homeland Security went and put these not even microscopic watermarks, actually, just you need a very strong magnifying glass, I believe, if I understand it right, to see them in light. The naked eye won't be able to pick it up because they're small. I am trying to understand how the locking and the science behind it works. I don't quite understand that, but it does have to do with the code. It's something that came out for intelligence. It's crypto money. So I do apologize for the ones that are watching this video and that may understand it better than me. I'm not doing a good job to explain it. I can't do a good job, so I'm not going to try. But it let me thinking. All year long, Trump has been saying, well, this ballot's going to be fraud, this ballot's going to be rigged, this is that. And then 3 years before that, the Democrats were the ones saying this election was wrong, it was rigged, the Russians hacked it. So election year comes, 2020 comes, and we have a different song being sung in D.C. So Trump's the one speaking now that the election's going to be rigged, the election's fraud, and the Democrats are the ones saying we have nothing to worry about. We have to trust the system. We took care of the Russian problem. It's fine. We need to trust the American people. We need to get the ballots out to them and keep them safe from this deadly virus. All right. Then it's mail-in ballots, not absentee ballots. Not even going to get into the difference there. But mail-in ballots. Oh, great. But these mail-in ballots, even though they're going to go out a couple months early, they can be a couple days late getting in before we count him. Now, I don't consider myself to be a civic genius, especially on ballots. Very a new learning experience for me. Everything I knew about ballots I've learned this week, and it's still very, very little. But when I go in person and I vote, I go downtown. This year I went to my town office, I voted, and I turned it in. I'm assuming if I was to cast a mail-in vote, I would get my ballot a couple weeks early, at the worst, put it in the post office, and it would go to my town hall where it would be counted on election day. So we're not talking about even leaving the county of where I live in. We're talking about getting to the town hall, not 300,000 miles of travel. So why are these ballots coming in so late and so slow? Especially when the post office was giving unlimited resources to make sure ballots got to the polls on time. They should have, if anything, been there ready to go come election day. And I personally think they should have been counted on election day. Put aside, counted on election day. When the elections close, those numbers be presented to us on top of the numbers that are coming in. It doesn't seem like that much of a process. I know there's millions and millions of mailed-in ballots, but that's all through the country, guys. That's not necessarily in the city. Yes, it's a big influx. In the major cities, it's a big number jump up, but you have all day to literally count those ballots while you're waiting for the polls to close. You could just focus all on that, and we'd have a very great concept. So, anyways, I digress. Back to the watermarks. So, Department of Homeland Security, it's their job to protect, the country from cyber attacks, terrorist attacks, anything that could put our country, I think I said company, I'm sorry, our country in jeopardy. Not as in an act of war. That doesn't require the armed forces. We have the Department of Homeland Security, and a secret attack on our votes, our election, would definitely most certainly qualify as something that the Department of Homeland Security is to handle. But they want to put preventative measures in there. They don't want to address it after the fact. They want to prevent it. They want to stop it. So we have people in the CIA, the FBI, Secret Service, Intel, that came up with this plan to put the watermarks on the ballots that we can't see. We wouldn't know they were there. Nobody knows they're there. The only time we'd ever need to know they were even there is when we feel like something arise was the ballots, and that maybe potentially there's a fake ballot out there. Not just one. They wouldn't do it for one. They do it for thousands. So when we just had a problem with the last election where the Russians tried to interfere and all that hoopla, and Trump's all year saying there's got to be something wrong with the ballots. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. He's literally saying it all year long. There's going to be a problem. Come election day, sure and behold, there's a problem. So either our government is so poorly run, doesn't matter who's on the other side, either Obama's in office and Russians can hack our election, or Donald Trump's in office and the Democrats can hack our election. But our government is so poorly run that we can't even think of a preventive measure to make sure that our elections can't be hacked in 2020. This isn't 1820, this is 2020. We do have technologies and we have coding. Secret Service and agencies love to recode and come up with these cool Tom Clancy ideas. And so they did. They have the watermarks, and I started really looking into some big information, talking to people, messaging people that would post stuff that I didn't know. And it's not normally something I would do, is to message people about what's going on. And there's just this growing movement about the water ballots, or the watermark on the ballots. And there's been ballots that have come in late that they've actually that are ordered to be put aside for auditing later. Am I hopeful? Yeah, maybe I am. Do I really want to believe it? Absolutely. I want to believe it. The only counter argument that I could think of is, well, ballots are handled at the local level. Yeah, it is, but they're still under Department of Homeland Security's district. They don't have to go to the local government, and they're not printed at the local level. They're designed and developed at the local level. And then they're printed out of, a paper printing factory. Someone that prints ballots. So it wouldn't take much for a representative of the Department of Homeland Security to definitely have some influential pull at the processing plant and get that watermark on there. They could get that watermark on there pretty much without even the people printing it know it's there. Because honestly, they don't have to know. It's a security measure, and that's all they pretty much need to know, that, hey, we have to do this. It's for the, whatever. And they can't say boo because they know it's a federal paper. And honestly, they probably a lot of things on ballots that they don't know. And it's none of their business. So I don't see how that can be realistic, like a realistic roadblock. This is the United States election, the biggest election in the world. That happens every 4 years. And you're telling me that they don't have a preventative measure to stop this kind of foobar? I just can't buy it. So I'm becoming very hopeful. I can't sit here and say, Trump's got this. He's going to win his votes. I don't think he's going to get the numbers. Obviously, this late, I don't think he's going to get the numbers. I think if he can get the courts to throw out the illegal votes and accept the votes with watermarks on them, I think he definitely gets the numbers. I think it's a landslide. I think most people watching my video will agree that it's a landslide. There's people on the left that hate Trump because of his attitude and his rudeness, and it's just silliness. You don't like because he's rude. Wow. I don't like a lot of people because they're rude, but I'm not blind to the fact when they can do a good or bad job on something. I can respect talent. Look at Tom Brady, the most hated quarterback in the NFL. But you gonna sit here and tell him he's a scrub? Sorry about that. Dogs are going a little crazy, and I'm way too far in this video to want to stop it. So, Lincoln, Patriot, come! All right, now they'll shut up. But that's where I just don't see how or why the government, especially Department of Homeland Security, wouldn't come up with this idea, wouldn't come up with a preventative measure. The best form of combat or battle tactic I could think of would be preventative tactics. You set landmines in the ground, so when the guy thinks they're sneaking up on you, they blow themselves up. And that's what we did. We have sat out a landmine for the Democrats to hit, and they don't even know they've already hit it. Am I saying that the watermarks are real? I'm not, but I'm definitely hopeful. I think you guys should be too. Thanks for watching. One of the longer videos I did. If you made it to the end, doubly thank you, and have a good night. Be safe, be smart. Thanks, guys.